Out here chasing smallmouth around in the kayaks today. Keys and I loaded up the trailer, headed out, do a little float, chasing smallmouth. The water's kind of high, the current's moving pretty fast, so we got rain 2 days ago, I think, or yesterday. One or the other. Water came up a little bit, got into the grass. And what those fish will do is they'll suck right into those cut, because it's all cut banks here, and so that they'll get tightened up on the bank in that tall grass and wait for stuff to float by, and they just crush it. Plenty of cover around here though, and typical river habitat, wood, current seams, rock, and I'm just dragging a tube, pitching a tube up as shallow as I can and just dragging it back, popping it, and they are liking it. With the current, you really gotta focus on boat control, going forwards and backwards instantly all the time, and keeping yourself in position. There's one right underneath the boat. Oh gosh, oh, he's going nuts. Oh, got him. Awesome. Awesome, awesome. He jumped right into the net. Nice one. Nice little chunker smallmouth. Crushed that tube right underneath me. Nice. Cool. Pretty little fish. These river, whoop, there he goes. These river smallmouth are just so aggressive. You know, they grow up fighting current their whole life. And they are mean. So yeah, pretty basic setup. Casting gear. This is a Falcon lowrider. I'm using it maybe a little bit heavier setup than I would if I was, you know, maybe even fishing out of a boat or in a lake for this tube, but some of this cover is super gnarly, and so getting them out of there is pretty important. So I like a little bit beefier rod. So the 7'2" heavy, about perfect for that. And then just a basic, you know, a good fluorocarbon, abrasive resistant. This happens to be Suffix Advanced, and yeah, it's just working real well. And as you can see in these kayaks, you're just so silent. It's just amazing. It doesn't matter how close you are to them. I mean, we're in super shallow water. As you saw that last fish, he was right underneath me, and I was sitting there moving the pedals back and forth. Just kind of goes to show you how silent these things really are. And yeah, you just got to keep tight to the bank. And they're there, just hopping this tube along. Oop. There we go. Oh, he's got me. Oh, it's a nice one. He just ate it right off that bank. They just tuck so close to these cut banks, and he just ate it immediately. It's a really nice one too. See if I can get myself pointed back up river. Oh, come on. Oh, kind of a sloppy landing, but he crushed that tube nonetheless. Check that out. Right up above that log jam. And it's pretty, you know, pretty basic. We're just floating down and pitching stuff along the bank as we float. And they are eating it. So yeah, just got a basic tube, football head inside there, throwing it up against the bank, dragging it back. That one hit it super close to the bank, almost as soon as it hit the water. I'm gonna see if I can get back up there, see if there's another one in there. Yeah, having these pedal drives, you know, the water is deep enough, and if we do run across any real shallow water where we got to pull the pedal drives up, you can absolutely do that. But having these is really nice because you're always repositioning yourself. You know, it really does take some multitasking, and when you got a little bit faster current like this, is keeping your boat in position. Especially you want to work over a spot pretty good, so you got to kind of go back and forth. Having that instant reverse is really nice because I'm not having to mess with anything, because I can fish and keep my boat in position at the same time, keeping me in the strike zone a little bit longer. I'm able to make a few more casts into each little pocket, and yeah, it's just working out pretty well so far. I'm just dragging this tube down. And it's nice because I'm just going with the current, covering a lot of water, and I'm really getting tight. You know, I don't have the noise of a trolling motor. I don't have the noise of really walking around in a boat or anything, and stuff's always floating down the river. They're having stuff float over the top of them all the time. So if you're not making any noise, you know, they might just think you're a big log, or who knows what they think you are, but it doesn't bother them. So you're able to get right over the top of them and fish them in a really stealthy way in these kayaks. You know, we have Kyle out here with us today, but he's just kind of making pretty shots that we can't make. making prettier videos for you guys to watch. But in reality, these kayaks are helping us catch more fish because we're so much more silent. Just get it as close to that bank as I can. I need to actually get my boat a little tighter. I can make long casts so that bait is in the strike zone for a long time, because they are in super shallow water, and you know you are positioning your boat the whole time. It does take some effort to keep yourself in the zone. Nice little eddy right here. I'm just gonna drag the tube right through it. Slow myself down here because there's one. See? Just, oh, it's a little guy. Little baby. But yeah, just drag it right through there. So obviously boat positioning is key throughout this whole deal, and I kind of keep flip-flopping between pointing myself upstream and going downstream. And it's really just depends on the certain situation, whether I want to work a hole a little more, or if I'm kind of just dragging along the bank. You know, moving the rudder around while you're floating, backpedaling, and just kind of teeter-tottering yourself, keeping yourself in position, not letting the current take you too fast. So you don't want to miss opportunities. You want to work over spots pretty well, but in the same breath you want to cover water. So you can't just sit there in one spot. You got to let the current take you and work the bank. There we go, right up tight to the bank again. Ooh, oh man, oh gosh. I was just floating out of getting hung up, and I pitched up close to the bank, and he just absolutely choked the tube. So boat control, oh gosh, come here buddy. Man, and a net is really nice because, yeah, landing them can be tough. Nice little chunky one, not a huge one, but you can see how he just choked that. So just keep in mind boat positioning, you know, dragging tubes in a football head, and you're gonna have yourself a pretty good time in the kayak on the river.